Well, good afternoon, my fishing brethren. There is something about me that you probably don't know because we haven't had our little community for long enough, but I hate fishing slow. I hate fishing slow. I would much rather fish a spinnerbait or a crankbait, topwater bait, whatever it happens to be. I want to be going. I want to be fishing fast, spot to spot to spot, and if there's not anything there, then go to the next spot. I hate fishing slow, but something I've done differently this year is I've started fishing earlier. I usually don't fish until the spawn starts, till the water's about 65, 70 degrees, and then I'll fish through the spring and early summer, and then I'll usually quit and I'll go do something else. But this year, because of the channel and a couple other things, and I've started fishing earlier, and that's forced me to fish in water that's cooler. So I've fished in water that was 43 degrees at the very beginning, all the way now up to the mid 50s. And that's forced me to start using some soft plastics and to start fishing slow. And what I've been catching my fish on this year, especially on one particular lake on Santa Rosa, is a woolly hog craw, and it's the blue with the sparkle in it. Just a fantastic bait. They call it the June bug. I mean, you can find these guys anywhere. Really, really good bait. Two things that kind of came out of me fishing this more and more this year was, number one, when you're throwing a long distance, like off of a ledge or a point, or you're fishing deeper water, a worm hook seems to work just fine. A 3/0 extra wide gap worm hook seems to work just fine on these little dudes. I never lost a fish. I never really had any problems with it. However, the bigger fish that I caught a 6.5 pound smallmouth and also about a 4.5 pound largemouth this spring. With this bait, were all close, was all flipping up into timbers and along rock lines and stuff, and it was close to the boat, and I consistently lost fish. So 20-30% of the fish I would catch, I would lose fish when I was fishing with that extra wide gap worm hook. I talked to a friend of mine about it, and he said that when you're flipping and pitching close to the boat, and your worm's not moving very much, it's just kind of sitting there. It filters down, and you twitch it a little bit, but it's really just sitting there. Whereas if you throw it a long distance and you're fishing up a point or down a, your worm's working its way down or working its way up or whatever, it's moving. When it's sitting still, when you're flipping, the fish grabs the whole thing, and it usually gets the weight inside of their mouth. And what that does is, whenever you set the hook, the weight forces their mouth back open, and you don't get as good as you don't get the hook set as good as you would if the bait was moving. Sorry if that was confusing, but the basic principle is the extra wide gap hook is meant for the bait to be moving a little bit whenever they bite it, whereas the flipping, you really need a different hook. And so when I switched to a flipping hook, a straight shank flipping hook, I never lost a fish after that. Never lost a fish. So there's definitely something to that. So if you're flipping close to your boat, make sure you're using a straight shank flipping hook. If not, you can get away with the wide gap. All right. So if you're flipping close to your boat, make sure you're using a straight shank flipping hook. If not, you can get away with the wide gap. The other thing that I learned was, and this is gonna cost me a lot of money. I had been fishing all spring with a package of these 3/8 tungsten weights, and I didn't lose very many of them, which was good. But I lost one this last trip, and I couldn't find my package. And so I looked back through my box, and I just had some lead weights. It was getting close to the end of the evening, and I thought, well, I'll put this on, and we'll just see what we can do. And that lead weight, which by the way was heavier than this 3/8 ounce, it was a 1/2 ounce lead weight. It was awful. I couldn't feel it as well. It didn't handle as well. It just is a different beast. These tungsten weights, I don't think that I will ever fish anything other than tungsten again. I'm not sponsored by these guys. I'm not sponsored by any of these guys, but I want to be able to give you the things that I think are good and I believe in and all that good stuff. So if you can just make the switch to flipping hooks whenever you're close to your boat, and if you'll throw tungsten weights, if you're a weekend warrior like I am and you're not on the water all the time, those two things right there, those two changes, they'll make a world of difference. I promise you. You won't lose as many fish, and you'll be able to feel your soft plastics so much better. Coincidentally, throughout this early spring season, I have grown to love throwing soft plastics. I really enjoy it. I like the bite. I like the subtleness of it. I like getting in close. I've just really enjoyed it. Plus, you know, I've caught some really nice fish. My personal best smallmouth came off of the soft plastic, and I've really enjoyed it. So, am I becoming a slow fisherman, a plastics guy? I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I still always have a spinnerbait tied on, but kind of fallen in love with this a little bit. So I'll be doing that some more this spring for sure. Just as a side note, I am throwing all of these on a 7.3 medium heavy rod or a 7.6 heavy rod, just depending. And this is the Veritas Abu Garcia rod, and it's the 2.0. I'll be doing a review on that a little bit later. It's a good rod. There's a couple of issues with it that I've been having, and also a good quality reel. 7.3 to 1, 7.6 to 1, even an 8 to 1 is good for these applications, especially when you're flipping. You want to be able to get those fish out quick. I'll go over that a little bit later. As far as line goes, whenever I was down in South Texas, we had put on 25-pound fluorocarbon because, I don't know, Texas fish are bigger and better than any other fish apparently. But when I came back up here, it just wasn't necessary. We fished a little bit clearer water, and I went back down to 17-pound tests. So that's what I've been throwing. I'll do a review on that rod and reel combination a little bit later. I got a Revo reel. Really nice combination. I like it. Couple of issues with the rod, but all in all, great stuff. I won't take up any more of your time today. Thank you guys so much for the subscriptions and the comments and the likes. I can't tell you enough how much it means to me that you guys spend the time to shoot me a comment, to throw me a message, to give me a word of encouragement. I've been watching YouTube videos for years now, as many of you guys have, and all the YouTube creators say how much they appreciate comments and likes, and I was always like, they're just fishing for views and blah blah blah. But in all seriousness, it's not really about all that. I don't monetize my videos. I don't make anything off this stuff. It's just really neat to me to be able to build a community and to have you guys part of that community. It means a great deal to me. So thank you guys so much for the support. Continue to do some giveaways in the future, and I hope you stick around with us. Stick with us. So I'm fishing a bass tournament this weekend down at the Elephant Butte Lake here in New Mexico. I'll have some footage of that coming up probably on Sunday. God bless you guys. Have a great, safe day. We will catch you next time.